My name is Tom Hunt. I'm a biologist, survivalist, and all-round adventurer. I've always been fascinated by the limits of human capabilities.
I don't know what's going on. This doesn't make sense.
What people can achieve when they break from convention. So I'm setting out on a mission to find incredible people who claim to possess unique abilities. Powers that push the known limits of the mind.
When you just see it happen in front of you, it's incredible.
And body. And defy the laws of conventional science. I'll get an insight into their worlds and witness their abilities firsthand.
That's as far in as your ear. That's the middle of your skull.
I'll use my own scientific knowledge and call in experts to discover what lies behind their skills.
It was so incredible to watch.
I want to find out just what it takes to become an extraordinary human. This time, my search for extraordinary humans has led me to Thailand. On the trail of two more people rumored to possess truly unique abilities. The first man I meet is a Shaolin monk who claims to have a unique power, making his body virtually indestructible. Then, I track down a man who says he's ice-proof. He can endure sub-zero temperatures for longer than anyone else on the planet. I want to find the key to their abilities to work out if they truly are extraordinary humans. On this leg of my journey, I've travelled to Hua Hin, which is renowned for its Buddhist temples. And I'm here to meet a Shaolin monk. He does the most incredible stunts to his body that I don't think anyone else would be willing to attempt. Shaolin Kung Fu is the oldest style of Chinese martial arts. It was first practiced in the original Buddhist Shaolin temple in Henan province, China. The monks used meditation techniques to make their bodies stronger and improve their combat skills. Today, Shaolin monks are still known worldwide for their amazing displays of strength and agility. But Hu Chong has developed his own controversial brand of Kung Fu. Using spears and even power tools, he claims to use unique techniques to enable him to withstand pain on the most vulnerable part of the body, the throat. The stunts he performs are so insanely dangerous that people call him the Indestructible Man.
What?
Hu Chong has travelled to Thailand from his home in China to teach his unique martial art. And I'm here to witness his abilities firsthand. What is the stunt that you do?
I can put this spear up to my throat and push against it until I bend the stick.
The spear point goes in your throat?
Yes, like this.
That's that's pretty impressive. And it goes right here. And that doesn't hurt?
No, I feel no pain at all.
It sounds extremely dangerous, but he says he wants me to hold the spear and force it towards the most vulnerable part of his body, his windpipe. You want me to push it into your throat? Oh, I'm not sure about that. I'd be a bit more comfortable just holding it and you pushing on. I don't want to be part of thrusting it into your throat.
Okay.
This definitely doesn't feel right. So one hand here. But at least from here, I'll be able to feel exactly how much force he uses to push against the spear. Good? First, he says he must prepare his body using his Shaolin Kung Fu training and a technique Hu Chong claims protects himself from injury. But can this really protect his skin and his windpipe from a razor-sharp metal spear? He gets into position with the tip of the spear right on his throat.
That looked brutal. He nearly snapped the spear in half. It must have done some damage to his skin.
Oh, wow. You're okay?
这个还算简单。
That was a piece of cake.
You've just bent the stick there. I was having to lean into that because you were pushing so hard.
That was insane. I could feel Hu Chong pushing his windpipe hard against the pole. Yet there's barely a mark on his throat to show for it. I want to take a closer look at the spear.
This is like sharp metal. This isn't plastic, it's not rubber, there's no tricks going on. This is actual metal. And I can't understand how that has not cut you in some way.
Hu Chong's spear comes dangerously close to one of the most important organs in the body, the trachea or windpipe. Located just centimetres under a thin layer of skin, this tube runs from the back of the mouth right down to the lungs. Due to its position, it's possible to slice directly into the windpipe. This simple medical procedure is known as a tracheotomy and is used when there's a blockage higher up in the airway. Life-saving tracheotomies have been performed for centuries. Way before the development of the kind of surgical implements surgeons use today. In fact, a blade no sharper than the spear Hu Chong uses would have been all doctors needed to slice into the trachea. So how does Hu Chong's throat withstand the force of the blade? And he says that was just the beginning.
That was actually really easy for me. Do you now want to see something more difficult?
I want to say no, actually, but yes, I do.
Now he wants to show me why they call him the Indestructible Man. He says he can bend 3 spears without them piercing his skin.
拿下来一点。哎，对。
And to make it even tougher, he wants to have a stone slab broken across his back while he does it. When we're in position, he lines up the spears on his throat. There's nothing but skin stopping them from puncturing his windpipe.
Oh, no, this is not good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I cannot believe what I've just witnessed.
Oh, my God, look.
Aside from a few indentations, there's not a scratch on him.
That was full on. I actually felt him smash that through the pole. Like there was so much force coming through it. I could hear this one breaking and cracking.
哎，对。
Yes, you can see this one is broken.
There's so much force coming through. It presses so far. It's actually indented into your throat at the moment. Does it stop you from breathing as well?
哎，对。
I can't breathe and I can't talk when I'm doing it.
You are the unbreakable man.
好，谢谢，伤口。
Well, thank you very much. That was absolutely incredible to watch.
That was definitely impressive. I could feel a huge amount of force on the spears when the lump hammer came down. And I fully expected the spears to puncture his throat. So how is he able to walk away entirely unharmed? Hu Chong began learning Kung Fu at just 8 years old. Now he wants to push traditional Shaolin Kung Fu to unprecedented levels. He has introduced his own unique techniques to protect his throat from injury.
What?
I have to be psychologically and physically prepared and keep my mind in a very peaceful state to carry out these stunts safely.
I'm now headed to the Palapon martial arts camp, where Hu Chong says he'll be giving an even more gruesome demonstration to show how he can withstand extreme forces to his throat. In one of the strangest displays I think I've ever seen, he ties a rope round his neck and asks 2 people to try and crush his windpipe. This is way beyond what I expected to see. With his last gasp of air, he shouts to be freed. Hugh Chong seems completely unharmed. I know that looked really odd, but the sheer force on the ropes should have crushed his windpipe. I want to ask him how this makes his throat indestructible and find out if this really is all down to his unique brand of Kung Fu.
When you were moving your body and you were breathing and doing all this sort of special preparation, what were you actually doing?
I do that as an exercise for 3 reasons. Firstly, to warm up, then to control my airways and my breathing. And when I yell, it helps to tighten my skin, making it more resistant to the spears.
Hugh Chong says it's his unique technique that makes his skin impenetrable. But over the years, even he has made mistakes.
There's a little bit of scar tissue on your throat, I've noticed. Have you ever actually sustained like a serious injury before?
Yes, but because I've been practicing this act for many years, this part of my skin has become thicker and harder to penetrate.
Do you still feel pain, but you manage to block it out, or do you just not feel pain anymore?
When I use my technique, the warm-up and the yelling to tighten the skin, it all enables me to reduce my pain senses.
I want to put this to the test to see if it's something that anyone can do. So I ask him to teach me the process. I'm going to take my resting heart rate before and after to see what effect it has on me.
88. It's the hot environment. It's not that I'm unfit.
Hugh Chong talks me through the movements.
Relax your whole body. Inhale and raise up both your hands in a circle.
I follow his instructions.
Then yell and breathe out.
I'm feeling more relaxed, but I can't see how this is going to make someone indestructible. I'm going to check to see if it's affected my heart rate.
I've done a little bit of yoga in the past, and it's sort of similar, but I love how it gets the mind and the body connected. Now, I was on 88 beats per minute beforehand. Oh, hang on. It's gone down to 66.
That's a huge drop in such a short space of time.
That is peculiar. That's really strange.
The technique really did lower my heart rate. Now he's going to show me how to make my skin indestructible with a technique known as Iron Head.
The first step is that you have to learn to yell and pull a face like this. When you pull this pose, your skin is going to be very tight over your head.
Okay.
Iron Head is one of the 72 arts of the Shaolin Monastery. It claims to channel power from the whole body to the top of the head. At the moment of impact, the skin is pulled tight, forming a strong yet invisible shield of protection.
So relax.
Hugh Chong claims it's this that makes his throat indestructible.
Is that good? So you're trying to make your body burst up through your skin.
He assures me this will make my head indestructible.
Okay.
Finally, Hugh Chong tells me to force my head against his as hard as I can. Apparently, I'm now ready to perform a stunt on my own. But can a few minutes practice really be enough to prepare me for this next challenge? Hugh Chong wants me to use my new Shaolin powers to break some wooden blocks with my head.
Right. I'm a little bit apprehensive about this, but I'm really keen.
He says this is safe as we've prepared ourselves. He's a professional and is overseeing my attempt, so please don't try this at home or anywhere else.
Right, okay. So, oh, they're quite thick, actually. Oh, wow. Okay, they're a bit stronger than I thought they were going to be. Right, how many are you going to go with?
3 pieces for me at first. After I've done it, you do it with me, okay?
Okay, right. You go first.
Hugh Chong's up first.
So that's 3. Let me just check. That's an inch thick. That's pretty thick. Yeah.
你看，打的时候，弓起来。
He talks me through the technique for making the skin indestructible and then goes for it.
You made that look quite easy, but there was 3 there.
It looked painful. He hit the blocks against his head with maximum force, but it seemed to have no impact on him. Now,
Right.
it's my turn.
Kung Fu Master.
步子站好，然后放在头上 ，1, 2, 3，一下打上去。
Okay. Power face and yell. Can't believe the situations I get myself into. 1, 2, 3.
对，好。
Hurts a little bit, but not too much.
I didn't feel as much pain as I expected. Perhaps this technique really does make the skin harder to penetrate.
I want to do 2 now.
再加2个，哎，
Right.
对，哎，对，就这样，哎，
Right, let's try these 2.
做好准备 ，1, 2, 3，对。
That one did hurt. I don't think I could do 3, but like, wow. Just check.
哎，对，哎，对，有一个小包，哎，对，就是很正常的，哎，对。
I managed to break 2 planks, but that was by no means easy. While Hugh Chong's technique certainly helped, I don't see how it could protect a throat from a spear.
Do you know what? I think 3 is too many for me. I think I'm happy to quit while I'm ahead, but I would love to see what else you can do.
Hugh Chong says he's got a stunt that will show me just how effective his iron head technique is. He says he can bend this solid iron bar using only his head.
That must be 5 or 6 millimeters thick, and that weighs maybe 2 kilos?
运动，嗯，
If he hits himself with full force, it should generate enough impact to knock him unconscious. Yet he says he'll be able to bend the bar.
Boards are one thing. Metal, seriously.
I can hardly flex this bar with my arms, so I don't think this is possible without injury.
加，打，打，打，打，
I can hear the metal against his skull,
打，打，
but he keeps going.
压，打。
And you're okay? You've just bent an iron bar over your head.
There's no way that was a trick as I saw it happen with my own eyes. But there's no damage to his skin.
You are a little bit crazy, but very powerful.
好，谢谢。
That was another impressive feat.
打，
Hugh Chong has proven that his technique can have a powerful strengthening effect on human skin.
压，
But even following his methods, I don't believe this is something that anyone can do. I want to see how far he can push his skills, and he says he's got the ultimate stunt to show me. Hugh Chong is now preparing to attempt his most deadly stunt yet. He's about to place his entire body on these 3 traditional spearheads. A 50-kilogram block of stone will then be placed on his back and smashed with a lump hammer. A group of Kung Fu students have come to witness his indestructible throat. And once again, Hugh Chong is preparing using his unique brand of Kung Fu. First is the tricky task of getting into position. Then balancing with his throat on the spearhead. Just one slip and the spear could slice through his windpipe. With no time to waste, now for the moment of truth.
1, 2.
At first, it sounds like he's injured. But miraculously, he leaps to his feet, completely unharmed. With just his mental and physical strength, Hugh Chong has just survived what should have been the deadliest of stunts.
My heart is beating out of my chest after doing that.
You see, I don't get hurt, thanks to my years of training and practice.
Seeing what you've done is completely extraordinary. You're absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Using his own unique brand of Kung Fu, Hugh Chong has strengthened his skin, muscles and bones and proven that he really can make himself indestructible. Up next, I search out a man who claims to endure sub-zero temperatures for longer than anyone else. But can a human being really be ice-proof? On this leg of my journey, I'm investigating people who push their bodies to the extreme. My next case is a man who says he can withstand sub-zero temperatures for longer than anyone else on Earth.
My name is Jin Song Hao. My act is to be buried in ice or snow. In ice, my record is 113 minutes. In snow, it's 47 minutes and 6 seconds. But the outside temperature then was minus 37 degrees Celsius.
Jin Song Hao has spent almost 30 years practicing his cold endurance and claims he's ice-proof. He comes from the frozen Chinese province of Heilongjiang, which borders Siberia. Temperatures there can drop to minus 40 degrees Celsius in the winter.
I'm on my way to meet Jin Song Hao. He's at a Japanese spa doing a lot of training, and I can't wait to see what it involves.
Traditional Chinese medicine has long believed that short durations in cold baths can promote health. But the amount of time that Jin Song Hao claims to spend totally submerged in ice should be fatal.
Jin Song Hao!
I want to witness it for myself to work out if he really is immune to the deadly effects of ice.
Wow, this is cold. How cold do you think this water is?
冰点吧，大概0度到。
I think it's about 2 degrees.
这冰点
Let me check. Right, well, I'm down to about 5 degrees and it's still dropping. The human body can withstand air temperatures around freezing for hours without suffering hypothermia. But cold water is much more deadly, as it conducts heat away from the human body almost 25 times more quickly than air. Just seconds submerged in water this cold should trigger the uncontrollable shivering of stage 1 hypothermia. Jin Song Hao has been in here for 20 minutes already and is showing no sign of the extreme cold. You're the current world record holder. How long do you stay in that cold water?
My record, in a mixture of ice and water, is 66 minutes.
66 minutes? Over an hour? That's not possible. Like, you are a human being, right?
I want to make the impossible possible. Because, as men, we should be challenging ourselves all the time.
The temperature is still dropping. Right, we're down to 3.4. I have no idea how Jin Song Hao is doing this. He asked me to join him to find out for myself how cold it really is. I'm an experimental scientist, so I'm not going to love this, but I can't believe I'm going to do this. Right, okay. Jin Song Hao has been in the freezing water for over 25 minutes. I'll be pleased if I manage just half a minute. I feel like I need to, psych myself up a little bit. 30 seconds. If I can do 30 seconds, I'm going to be happy. As a surfer, I've experienced the bone-chilling cold of the Atlantic Ocean in midwinter. But that's nothing compared to this. Even with just my feet in the water, the cold's affecting my whole body.
Oh, I'm a bit lightheaded.
But Jin Song Hao says I've got to fully submerge myself.
3, 2, 1. Right in. Right in.
Almost instantly, I feel my body go into what's known as the cold shock response. The chest muscles constrict involuntarily, breathing increases rapidly, and in extreme cases, this can cause the throat to close over and suffocation.
I can't feel my legs.
But after just a few seconds, I've had enough. In all, I endured just 20 seconds.
My body's on fire.
And my body is still in shock. Jin Song Hao is still sitting there. I've met some crazy people, but you might be the craziest one I've ever met. I have got to find out what makes you so different. This is something else. This is unbelievable. As a biologist, what Jin Song Hao does just doesn't make any sense. When exposed to cold water like this, a process called vasoconstriction should occur to combat the heat loss from the skin. Arteries in the limbs narrow and blood is forced to the core to maintain body temperature. As a result, muscles get weak, causing a loss of coordination and strength. But if exposure continues, the body's optimum core temperature of 37 degrees Celsius will begin to fall. If it drops just 2 degrees, any normal person would begin to suffer from hypothermia. Below 30 degrees, you lose consciousness, and less than 25 degrees, you'll die. But Jin Song Hao claims he can endure freezing temperatures for long enough to cause fatal hypothermia and suffer none of these effects. We've come across town to the Chainat football stadium, home of one of Thailand's most advanced cryotherapy treatment centres. Cryotherapy means cold cure and has been used in medicine since the 17th century. I've called in the help of Mr. Note, an expert in the use of ice in sports recovery.
Hi.
Hey, Mr. Note.
Welcome to Thailand.
Thank you.
And welcome to China. Yep.
He has devised some tests to help me assess Jin Song Hao's immunity to cold. The players here are at the cutting edge of sports science, alternating between ice baths and hot baths to aid in their muscle recovery. The theory is that the icy water causes the blood and lactic acid in their tired legs to recede. Then when they use the hot baths, their limbs are filled with new oxygenated blood, which invigorates the muscles. But the water is so cold, players are only advised to stay in the ice bath for a maximum of 1 minute. I'm challenging Jin Song Hao to submerge his body in the ice water, then try and withstand the cold for longer than an entire football team, one by one.
This is the hot one, and this is the cold one. So, in you go.
The ice bath is designed to be kept at the coldest temperature a human can withstand.
More ice. Right on the surface is 3.7 degrees.
But Jin Song Hao wants all the spare ice put in now, as he says it's not cold enough.
You ready?
Once again, he seems in his element, and the cold is having no effect.
Are the players ready to come in? Come on in.
The first player who steps up is going to attempt 60 seconds.
So you're going to do 1 minute, right?
1 minute. 1 minute. Can do. Try. Ready?
As players use this ice bath every single day, they should have built up a resistance to the cold.
How does that feel? Good? It's good?
But even they're not used to it being this cold.
Okay, finished.
Had enough, had enough. Jin Song Hao, what are you doing with the ice? Is it not cold enough?
I don't feel cold at all.
You don't feel cold at all. You're hugging an ice block.
The next player steps up. And instantly, he feels the breath taken out of him by the cold.
Longer, longer. As long as you can.
The second player gives up as the icy water is now dropping to just above freezing.
That is cold.
But Jin Song Hao is totally unaffected as the next challenger steps up.
In you go. Finish?
As one by one, the players give up. Jin Song Hao has beaten them all.
It's not human, I know.
But he's still just sitting there.
So we started at about 2.5 to 3 degrees. We've had so many challenges, it's literally nothing for Jin Song Hao. You've run out of ice and you've run out of challenges. You've beaten everyone.
I feel very good.
You are the winner.
Jin Song Hao has beaten an entire football team, remaining in the freezing ice bath for over 20 minutes.
When you see Jin Song Hao in the ice, it's incredible for 2 reasons. The first reason is clearly that he can spend such a long time in there. But the second thing that's really fascinating is the fact that it seems to not have any physiological effect on him. But I really want to be able to test this, and so I've set him up a little challenge.
To see what's going on inside his body, Mr. Note has devised a way to see exactly what effect the cold has on Jin Song Hao's muscles when compared to a normal human being like me.
So, what have we got? How cold is the water?
About 8 degrees.
This is the optimum temperature for this test. The muscles in our hands should cease to function normally after just 1 minute in this water.
Write some word.
We'll then have to write a Thai word on paper, a challenge that could prove difficult, especially given that neither of us speak Thai.
Well, I don't know any, and you don't know any, so it would just be a perfect dexterity copying challenge.
Yes.
Okay.
3, 2, 1, go.
The water in these bowls is the same temperature as parts of the Arctic Ocean.
It's starting to get a bit painful. What was that, 10 seconds?
And the physical effects are immediate.
Yeah, that's pretty painful now.
But that's just the nerves. I want the cold to like sink in because this is a muscle challenge.
Jin Song Hao looks calm as ever. As time ticks on, the pain is becoming excruciating.
The last 5, 3, 2, 1. Okay, 1 minute.
After just 60 seconds, the 8-degree water has reduced my ability to control my muscles. This shows just how quickly the average human body loses its ability to function in cold.
Oh, I can't even hold the pen properly.
And it's the reason that even strong swimmers can die so quickly in cold water. It's not the cold that kills them, they simply cannot move their muscles and drown. But Jin Song Hao doesn't seem to be showing any loss of dexterity from the cold water.
He's done.
And when we compare the results, Jin Song Hao's muscle control was totally unaffected.
That's good.
But my dexterity was seriously reduced, proving his physiology does possess a unique immunity to cold.
Oh, just getting feeling back into my hand now after.
But how can Jin Song Hao's muscles withstand much colder temperatures than this for over an hour?
When you're actually in the ice bath though, you can still move your muscles without any problem?
Because I've been doing this for so many years, and I've been pushing myself to withstand it for longer and longer, I'm able to do so many things at the same time. I can draw, write, move, even when I'm in the ice.
Well, actually, hang on a second, because training is one thing and doing it for 30 years is one thing. But actually breaking the laws of physics or biology is a completely separate entity. You know, there's enzymes, there's muscle performance, there's contraction of actin and myosin. You know, when your temperature goes down, your muscle should not be able to work.
Yeah, maybe part of the reason is because I have done it for many years. The other reason is that my skin is maybe different from other people's. Ice doesn't do much to me. I hope someone can explain that to me, because I also want to find out. And also, I want to learn to do more things in ice.
This is what I'm really curious about with you in particular. Everyone else obeys the laws of biology, and you just seem to be able to drop your body temperature down.
There is scientific precedent for humans adapting to cold, known as the hunter's response. Inuit hunters frequently work gloveless in extreme cold. Tests have shown that the surface capillaries on their hands periodically open, allowing surges of warm blood to pass into their exposed skin, maintaining temperature and muscle flexibility. Perhaps Jin Song Hao possesses this ability on a much greater scale. And he wants to prove it by submerging himself in ice for longer than ever before.
I'm going to fill this box right up with ice, and I think we've got 30 bags of 20-kilo ice, so there is no point that he's going to say it's not cold enough.
He's going to bury himself in ice in this tank and says he'll be able to withstand the temperature for nearly an hour. And that's something that could kill any normal human.
Before I do the act, I do need some time to do the preparation, like push-ups, stretching my arms and legs. I also need to eat some high-protein food.
You feeling ready? Good luck, my friend. Right, in you get.
Jin Song Hao gets into position, and then we'll fill the ice around him.
We've got 600 kilos of ice going into the box.
What he's about to do is potentially lethal. It's essential we monitor his vitals throughout.
I just want to take a core temperature. You ready?
I check the core temperature under his arm and in his ear.
Excellent. Yep, 37 degrees. Perfect.
His heart rate is also normal. Jin Song Hao seems as ready as he can be to attempt the challenge.
Let's start loading.
The clock starts when Jin Song Hao's body is completely submerged.
Right, how many bags is that? 20, 25?
25,
25.
26 now.
With the icebox now full, his temperature is checked by the doctor and the challenge can begin.
How are you feeling? Because you've now got 500 kilos of ice around you.
I don't think I've ever felt so good.
I don't think I'm ever going to find this guy's limit.
Over the course of the next 20 minutes, Jin Song Hao shows no reaction to the ice.
It's so strange, you don't even shiver.
Yes, I've been practicing for so many years. With this amount of ice, it's just a piece of cake for me. I'm just so happy being here.
Somehow, Jin Song Hao is not reacting to being submerged in ice. But there is a way to really push him.
Right, we're going to really challenge you now. We're going to fill it up with water. I've got to find out where your limit is.
No problem.
Ice cubes have air spaces between them, which could be acting as insulators, so I'm going to get rid of them.
This temperature is going to seriously go down and I want to be able to check with the ambulance, check all his vitals are okay.
Amazingly, despite being in the ice long enough to cause hypothermia, his core temperature has hardly changed.
Good?
Good, yeah.
Yeah, core temperature's fine still.
And neither is his heart rate.
78 for heart rate.
So that's steady, that's what it was before. Okay, so your stats are fine. Are you ready for the water, Jin Song Hao? Right, now's the time.
I want to see just how long Jin Song Hao will be able to endure this.
So you can see the water's filling up all of the air spaces. Liquid, or water in particular, is 24 times more conductive than air. So this is going to start to leach heat out of his body almost immediately. I've left the limit with him, so he gets out when he wants to get out, and we've got the timer rolling. You can start to feel the water coming up now?
Yeah, I can feel the coldness now, coming up from the bottom.
Finally, we've managed to get him to start feeling the cold. I don't want to come across as someone that's trying to be mean to make him cold, but I've spent 2 or 3 days now challenging this guy and getting absolutely nowhere. But I think I'm going to find his breaking point within the next 5 minutes. Right, we are absolutely full now on the box. He's been in there for over half an hour now, but I want to see what the actual temperature is. We are down to 2.1 degrees. How much longer have you got in you, Jin Song Hao?
Let's just wait and see, because I feel very good right now.
But after a staggering 45 minutes, is Jin Song Hao beginning to crack?
Well, I just saw the first shiver I've ever seen this man do.
But he's not giving up yet.
Please, more ice.
I think you're unbreakable. He wants to up the challenge. He says it's not cold enough.
The clock is now approaching his world record, 66 minutes, and his body is starting to react.
He's been in for nearly an hour now.
Yes.
Good?
Good.
So it's still okay, still at 35.5 degrees core temperature. What's the pulse rate like?
92.
92, so it's gone up again a little bit, but he seems to be okay.
Jin Song Hao may appear fine, but his core temperature is now only ½ a degree above the hypothermia threshold.
Jin Song Hao, you still okay? You still with us?
I'm still okay, but I need to concentrate.
Okay, well, I want you to tell me when you're ready to come out, okay? Okay, we'll leave you quiet.
The medics are now growing increasingly concerned. Jin Song Hao is saying he's actually warm.
Please, more water.
This can be a sign of irreversible and fatal hypothermia, and the reason many mountaineers tear off their clothes before dying from the cold.
Jin Song Hao has just requested that we fill right up to the top, because he's been in now for over an hour. There's a little bit of shivering, but he's still kind of looking fairly okay. It's absolutely crazy. His arm, although it's not been under the ice, feels really warm. So there's obviously not much vasoconstriction going on, which we would imagine that we would see. The body would start cutting down the circulation to the extremities and just keep it around the vital organs. But his arm is so warm. He's obviously not doing that. It doesn't make any sense. You're crazy.
So just like the evolutionary trait found in the fingers of Inuit fishermen, Jin Song Hao's entire body continues pumping warm blood instead of shutting down like a normal human.
He's been sat in there for over an hour, still doesn't think it's enough of a competition. So he's now challenging everyone to put their hand in for 1 minute. I'm gonna try it as well. Everyone?
Yes.
Try and put your hand in.
Okay.
He's challenging everyone.
Shall I with you?
1 minute.
As soon as my hand is immersed, I can feel the extreme cold. And the pain on everyone's faces shows exactly what Jin Song Hao has been subjecting himself to.
I'm out.
And one by one, they begin to drop out.
I feel like I don't have an arm. Right.
But after a staggering 70 minutes,
Is it time?
Okay.
Do you want to get out?
Surrender.
Jin Song Hao finally gives up. Unlike any normal human, his muscles still seem to be functioning perfectly. But the medics want to check to see if there's any potentially fatal effects of his insane ice submersion. Now to measure his all-important core temperature.
Okay, so his core temperature's gone down to 34. So
I can't believe he can appear unaffected by what he's just achieved.
how are you feeling, okay?
I feel good. I want to have a sunbath right now.
A sunbath, okay.
After a 3-degree drop in core body temperature, he should be shaking uncontrollably, and his muscles should be barely functioning. But Jin Song Hao is unaffected and has a unique way of proving it.
This, honestly, is one of the craziest people I have ever met in my whole life. Absolutely unbelievable.
On this leg of my journey, I've met a man with an indestructible throat, capable of withstanding immense impacts that would kill any normal human. And I've just witnessed Jin Song Hao prove that his body has a unique ability to keep his blood flowing, even when faced with lethal temperatures, making himself immune to ice. Join me next time as my search for extraordinary humans continues. This time on my search for extraordinary humans, I'm on the hunt for two people who are literally dicing with death. First up,
No way.
I witness a man who performs extreme headstands.
You do a headstand on this.
Li Qing claims to balance his whole body weight upside down on a nail.
Oh my God. Oh.
Then, I track down a man who claims he's immune to one of the world's most lethal forces: electricity.
Look at it.
So he's live right now.
He's live. He's live.
I'm in Thailand in search of Li Qing, who claims to have a skull capable of withstanding the most painful of stunts. He's pushed his skull further and further and says he can now balance his body weight on a nail head.
My name is Li Qing. I'm known as the king of headstands, and I'm the only person in the world who can do what I do.
Li Xing's ability to do the acts that he does is so abnormal, and I'm incredibly aware that the skull is not designed to do the things that he's trying to put it through. There must be something different about his skull.
As part of his skull training regime, Li Qing comes to this park in central Bangkok every morning, soon after sunrise. I'm hoping to get a first-hand demonstration of some of his extreme headstands.
Very good to meet you. Come to find you because you do incredible things stood on your head.
Yes, these props are all I need when I do all of my different headstand acts.
And there's one prop in particular that catches my eye immediately.
So you do a headstand on this.
Yes, I can headstand on the top of that nail, hands-free.
I don't even want to get into that yet.
The 4-inch metal nail looks horrific. I cannot believe his skull could withstand the force of his entire body weight bearing down on the nail head. He says that apart from the pain, the stunt is all about balance. One slip and it could be game over, and the nail could cause a fatal injury to his skull.
When you're doing it on a nail, your balance must be absolutely critical. How do you prepare for that?
I actually train by headstanding on a metal disc, balanced on a golf ball.
Li Qing wants to show me how he trains for his nail stunt by trying to keep his balance on a golf ball. Surely that's impossible.
一下就是不是太平，它会往前溜。
Okay, so let me get this straight. You're going to do a headstand balance. I can't believe that's even possible. Would I be able to try maybe standing on it?
You can try, but I don't think you'll manage it.
Honestly, I cannot see how this is possible. Concentrate. It's impossible. This is not possible.
Li Qing claims he could do this standing on his head for 10 seconds.
Go for it.
For this stunt, he asks me and a passerby to hold a metal rod to rest his feet against. Li Qing instructs us to hold the bar at a specific height. He insists he'll not be using the bar to support his weight, but only for minor help in balancing.
Okay, brilliant. Right, well, if you're ready, let's start.
好，下面开始。
With us holding the bar at the right height, Li Qing gets into position, and he wastes no time in getting into a headstand. Then lifts his hands.
No way. That is incredible.
The pressure on his skull and neck must be immense, not to mention the extreme concentration required.
Wow, there's a little bit of weight against the bar, but he's only using a little bit for balance. It must be all in his neck. Wow, that's 20 seconds at least. Wow. Well, you aimed for 10 seconds. That was nearer 30 or 40 seconds, I think. That was incredible.
Both the control and the power that Li Qing has just demonstrated is truly amazing. But when Li Qing does a headstand on a nail, does his skull genuinely take his full body weight, or is it the bar secretly helping him? To find out, I'm taking Li Qing to Thailand's leading sports science facility, Bangkok's Chulalongkorn University. Dr. Vijit Kanung Sukasem is going to use the latest technology to investigate how Li Qing's skull could possibly withstand the force he claims.
This is Li.
First, Dr. Vijit wants to work out Li Qing's exact weight.
Step on. 67 kilos. Okay.
Then, with the scales reset to 0, Li Qing does a headstand with his legs against the bar.
The first time his body weight is 67, and then when he did some headstand, it's 66. So 1 kilogram lost.
But that's still 98% of his whole body weight.
Still, yeah.
On his head and going through the neck and the spine.
That's a lot.
Wow.
So the bar makes virtually 0 difference to the amount of weight pressing down. But doing a headstand on a force plate is one thing. Li Qing claims he can do a headstand on a nail. That's 66 kilos of force through less than 1 centimetre square, directly onto his head. I need to find out how his skull can possibly withstand this force. So I've asked Dr. Vijit to refer Li Qing for an MRI scan. I want to see inside his head, searching for any physiological difference that could make his skull stronger than the average. The scan will produce hundreds of cross-sectional images of the head. And once Li Qing has recovered from the scan, The doctor calls us in to show us the results.
Doctor, we've got the results. The main question is there anything different about his skull?
Not thicker. And the skull bone is normal.
Absolutely normal?
Yeah.
What's this white area on the skin at the top?
White area, this is a scar.
A scar tissue?
Yes, scar tissue.
Okay.
Okay.
The doctor reveals that although the MRI has shown that Li Qing's skull is no thicker than average, it did detect severe scar tissue right at the top of his head,
Okay.
in the exact spot where he performs his headstands.
Do you think that helps Li Qing in doing the stunts that he does? Is it any tougher than normal skin?
Yes.
It is?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Human skin is covered in pain receptors, but repetitive damage can wear away these nerve endings, effectively causing numbness. That explains how Li Qing could withstand the pain during a headstand on a nail. But immunity to pain won't protect Li Qing if he loses his balance. As his bone is no thicker, any slip and the nail would penetrate his skull and plunge deep into his brain. So maintaining perfect balance is the difference between life and death. But neck muscles are only designed to take the weight of a human head. Li Qing must balance his entire body weight. I want to try and work out if Li Qing's neck strength is the ultimate key to his ability. We rig him up with 6 different myography sensors linked back to a laptop. These will monitor the levels of electrical muscle activity throughout his entire body during a headstand. But due to the potentially fatal consequences, the doctor has refused to allow Li Qing to do a headstand on a nail in the lab.
All the sensors on?
So once again, he uses a golf ball. After taking a moment to steady himself, he pushes up onto his head. And seconds later, despite the apparatus on his body, he goes hands-free. Again, I'm blown away by his ability to balance. There's almost no weight against the bar that we're holding. Yet I can already see on the monitors there's a lot of muscle activity. Li Qing's remarkable headstand has clearly impressed the experts.
That was absolutely perfect, and I could feel. Could you feel the body twitching?
Yeah.
Time to work out how he maintains such balance. Firstly, Dr. Vidget notices there was a big change in Li Qing's breathing.
Yeah, you see, this one is kind of a deep breath, and this one shallow breath.
Ah.
Okay.
Before the headstand, he took big breaths using his chest. But once he was up, the breaths were much more shallow, rapid, and coming from the abdomen. But what I really want to find out is which muscles will be most critical when balancing on the nail head. Whilst Li Qing was doing his headstand, the electrodes were monitoring his neck, back, chest, stomach, and legs.
But the result here show that he used back muscle the most.
Oh, wow, okay.
The initial results were quite unexpected. The sensors revealed greater activity in the back muscles than any other part of the body. I really thought the neck would take most of the strain.
If you see the other graphs, see there's no activity at all.
Really?
But when we take a closer look at the data, there does appear to be an explanation. Even though there are no large peaks in the activity of the abdominal muscles, the sensors did register a low but continual movement.
So what's really interesting is his back is absolutely critical in terms of the balance that he's trying to create. And obviously along the length of the spine, he's trying to keep that with a little bit of the abdominal muscles, trying to keep his balance like that.
So our in-depth tests have revealed exactly how Li Qing maintains such extraordinary balance. And by doing his stunts for over 30 years, he's managed to build up scar tissue on his head, allowing him to withstand greater and greater amounts of force and perform increasingly deadly headstands. But we found his skull is no thicker than average, which makes the headstand on a nail head he's planning to attempt even crazier. The doctor says that one slip will mean certain death, but Li Qing says he still wants to go ahead. To demonstrate his deadly nail headstand, Li Qing is taking me to a builder's merchant's, where first he's going to show me how he builds up the scar tissue on his head and strengthens his neck muscles. He's going to balance concrete slabs on his head heavier than his own body weight.
What sort of weight are we looking to stack on top of your head today?
My maximum weight on my head is 90 kilograms.
Okay, so if we get one of these weighed up, then we can figure out how many you need for the training exercise. Cool.
90 kilograms is a serious amount of weight. Equal to that of an adult deer, it's far heavier than Li Qing and extremely dangerous to take on the head.
Yeah, that's 15.5 kilos, so that would be, well, 6 would be over 90 kilos.
That's right, it would be 93 kilograms.
Wow, that's actually more than I weigh.
But Li Qing insists that he can take on such a dangerous challenge.
This is going to be seriously impressive, but I think I'm going to have to find some other people to help me, both in terms of safety and also to just actually get the blocks on top of his head.
With Li Qing almost prepared, I call in some of the warehouse staff to help me out. With just a small towel on his head for protection, Li Qing signals that he's ready.
Good, right. Number one.
As we start to load the concrete slabs onto his head, I can't help but feel a little apprehensive. But Li Qing is starting strong.
These are heavy, just one at a time. Oh, that's 4.
With 62 kilograms, it looks like he is starting to struggle.
Is he okay? Right. Number 5.
As the 5th slab is loaded on, I can see Li Qing's neck being crushed by the weight.
Last one. It's over 75 kilos. This last one's going to go over 90 kilos.
With the final block in place, Li Qing looks like he's at his limit. His skull, neck and back are under extreme pressure, enough to break his neck if he loses balance.
Wow! That is 90 kilos, yeah.
He finally indicates that he's ready to stop.
Through his neck. Take the top one off. Top one at a time. One at a time. Okay. That's it, yeah.
What Li Qing has just done is beyond what I thought was possible. 90 kilograms should have crushed his spine, and it took 3 of us to remove the blocks from his head. But he withstood it and survived. Now he's warmed up his head and neck muscles, Li Qing is ready to take on his deadly stunt.
I can't tell you how nervous I am. Are you ready to do it?
Yes, I'm ready to do it. This next act, my nail stunt, is really going to make your jaw drop.
I want to get another close look at it to see if it's quite as crazy as I remember.
I've seen this before, but now actually knowing that you're going to do a headstand on top of this, that is thinner than a pencil.
Yes, absolutely. This stunt is extremely difficult, and the nail is very thin.
Despite the huge dangers involved in this stunt, Li Qing is determined to continue. With everything in place, it's time for his final challenge.
Right.
Once again, I'll be holding the bar.
You ready?
But we've proven that this will not be taking any of his body weight. It will all be pressing down onto the head of the nail.
As he lifts his legs into position, I can hardly look. But then, with the nail pressing onto the top of his skull, he does the unthinkable and lifts his hands.
Oh my God. Oh, wow. Oh, that is actually happening.
With 70 kilograms pressing directly onto less than half a square centimetre of Li Qing's skull, any slip could see the nailhead penetrate deep into his brain, causing instant death. Finally, he's had enough. But the damage is clear to see.
Oh my God. There's a massive dent in your head. You feel okay?
Yes, each time I practice this, it looks that way, but I'm feeling so good right now.
I'm freaking out a little bit right now. That was absolutely incredible. That was one of the most mega acts I've ever seen.
Li Qing's nail stunt has completely blown me away.
Oh my God. Oh, that is actually happening.
I never thought it would be possible to survive placing 70 kilograms worth of weight on such a tiny point of the human skull.
Everything about him, his physiology, his physique, his mind, the mental practices that he goes through, his discipline, 34 years. There's no wonder that he's the only person in the world that can do that. That was incredible.
From balancing on a golf ball...
No way. That is incredible.
...to headstands on a nail...
Oh, wow.
Through years of dedication and practice, Li Qing has truly mastered his art and is, without doubt, extraordinary. Next up, I'm travelling across the globe to meet another man who performs an act that would undoubtedly kill any other person. I'm heading back home to Bristol, England.
So this part of my journey brings me back onto home soil, back in the UK. I'm just on my way to pick up a man from Serbia who does death-defying stunts with electricity, to the degree where I'm pretty certain if anyone else tried them, they would end up dead.
My name is Slaviza Pajkic, better known as Bieber Struja, which means Bieber the electricity man. I'm a medical phenomenon. Electrical power cannot hurt me.
Being immune to the lethal effects of electricity is surely physically impossible. So I've asked Bieber to travel from Serbia to England so that I can test his claims scientifically on my own turf. I'm taking Bieber to a warehouse on the outskirts of the city, a place perfectly suited to working with potentially lethal high-voltage electricity.
So Bieber, I've brought you to this warehouse because I didn't want there to be a limit of power supply, all right? We have, if we need it, an industrial amount of electricity.
Okay. But Bieber says his equipment takes electricity off the scale. As he unpacks his machines, it quickly becomes apparent that these aren't just your ordinary electronics. It looks like he means business. And Bieber tells me just how much voltage this machine can generate.
Plugging this in, I will get 220 volts. But this transformer runs at 9,000 volts. This kind of electricity can be dangerous. For ordinary people, it definitely is, and does kill.
Well, I'm gonna let you finish getting set up. It looks dangerous.
Bieber's transformer is 40 times more powerful than a standard socket. With so much voltage flying around, I've called in a paramedic in case anything goes wrong. I've also brought in a professional electrician to ensure what Bieber is doing is genuine. With everyone in place, it's time to see if Bieber really is immune to electrocution. So, Bieber, are you ready?
Yes.
Go for it. The 9,000 volts is being expelled through the air into the bulb. But then Bieber takes the electricity directly onto his hand, through his body, lighting up the bulb. Any normal person would suffer a huge electric shock from such a high voltage. I'm not quite sure how Bieber survives this. But whilst it certainly looks impressive to me, I'm no physicist. But Nigel says Bieber really should be suffering a serious shock from doing this.
I mean, you must have, in your line of work, have you ever taken a shock of
Many times. It's a very painful experience. If you touch the live conductor, it hurts a lot. It's unbearable and potentially fatal.
Nigel says that the 9,000 volts the machine generated is much more deadly than a shock from a domestic socket. But he also recognises the machine and knows how it works. Nigel says it's actually capable of generating a much, much higher voltage.
The first coil steps the voltage right up to 9,000 volts, and then afterwards we have the Tesla coil, which escalates the voltage through some special coils, which was invented by Nikola Tesla.
Born in 1856, Nikola Tesla was a Serbian inventor and physicist. Having invented the alternating current system, the method used in present-day power distribution, he is widely regarded as one of the key figures in the harnessing of electricity. In 1891, Tesla invented the Tesla coil. Used in experiments such as electrical lighting, early X-ray generation, and wireless electricity, and with it still being used in modern-day radio transmission, the Tesla coil was one of the most important inventions of the 19th century. It's this high-voltage device that Bieber has recreated to demonstrate his immunity to lethal amounts of electricity. To prove it, he's now going to turn his Tesla coil up from the 9,000 volts he did earlier to full power. That's a staggering 200,000 volts. That's over 830 times higher than a standard UK plug socket. Bieber cranks up his coil to the max. We all keep at a very safe distance, as this truly is life-threatening. But even with the generator working at full capacity, Bieber's showing no reaction to the huge voltage. Finally, he shuts it down. But he's not finished there. Bieber wants to show me how his entire body is being electrified by the 200,000 volts. He takes a cotton bud on the end of a stick and soaks it in butane. Then he asks me to touch it to his skin. Now Bieber wants me to feel that he is electrified by taking a small secondary shock from his body. It sounds dangerous, but I do want to make 100% sure that the electricity is definitely flowing through him. He tells me to put a small amount of the lighter fluid on my finger. If the electricity is passing through him, we should see a result. There's no doubt the electricity really is going straight through Bieber's body.
That's quite intense. I can't feel much of my finger anymore.
Whilst this certainly looks impressive, Nigel informs me that there may be a trick involved.
Really?
He explains that although the Tesla coil is delivering a high voltage, it may be delivering an extremely low amperage, and this could be the secret to Bieber's ability. To put it to the test, he suggests Bieber plugs himself directly into a power supply with an unquestionably high amperage. A power supply like the mains. Steel nails like this are highly conductive, so when inserted into the socket, they immediately become live. I cannot believe what he's doing. Putting any metal object directly into the main socket should kill you. Instantly. There must be some kind of trick going on. Is the electricity really going through his body? So is there any way that we can test different parts of his body to see if there's current going through?
Sure. I've got this live voltage meter here.
Okay.
Which, when I hold it close to the nail, you can see it light up even though I'm not touching it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that shows that there is mains voltage there.
Okay.
If I hold it next to you, I don't get a light. Okay?
Clearly.
Whereas here, we can show different parts of the body lighting up.
So he's live right now?
He's live.
This should be deadly. So to try and find out why he is immune to the current, Nigel wants to test the electrical resistance of Bieber's body. This will tell us if his body is somehow able to absorb or insulate him from the electricity. Right, can we get the machine on it so we can actually see that it is what we think it is?
Yep, I'm going to do a voltage test on this now.
Okay.
And we can see that. We have here 240 volts exactly. I can do a test on his skin and I can see voltage there now. It's about 38 volts.
Okay, so he's absorbing.
I don't understand exactly what's going on there. He is acting as a resistor of some kind.
And genuinely, you're not feeling anything, or you feel a tingle?
I absolutely feel nothing at all.
There's just something else. I mean, in your professional opinion over the years, did you ever expect that this was even possible?
No way. This is dangerous, and I absolutely would not recommend anybody did this at home. It goes against everything they teach you at school, textbook, about the dangers of electricity.
Thank you. So far, Bieber is proving to be a physiological mystery, and I'm no closer to understanding how he does this. As a biologist, I'm confused by what Bieber has just demonstrated. How can he withstand such deadly electrical currents? I want to know what paramedic Sid thinks about what he's just seen. Today. What are the medical implications of effectively sticking your fingers in a plug socket?
Basically, your muscles just seize up really, and whatever you're holding, they just clamp onto whatever you're holding. So if it's a current, that's it. You ain't gonna let go of that.
So this is the bit that I'm really interested in. You hold on to one bit,
Yep.
you hold on to the other bit, and the current, we already know because we've tested it, is going through his body.
Yep.
And it goes through the path of least resistance,
Yep.
so it's got to be going up the arm, across the chest, and then down the other arm.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of worries me.
It does. I mean, just basically going through the anatomy of the heart. I mean, you've got an SA node, an AV node. The SA node is your natural pacemaker, which fires very small, minute impulses, which is basically your heart rate.
This SA node is a group of specialized cells in the top corner of the heart that acts as a natural pacemaker. It spontaneously generates a regular electrical impulse, which conducts through the heart, causing it to contract. The contraction of the heart is what allows blood to be pumped around the body. If a person were to come into contact with the mains electricity supply and the current were to pass over their heart, these natural electrical impulses can easily become overridden, and ventricular fibrillation will occur, likely resulting in instant death. Other serious effects of electrocution include a sudden tensing of the body's muscles, immediate loss of nervous control, and severe burns. Is there any way we can sort of test this. He does this all the time, and it kind of worries me, the potential long-term implications. Can we test to see whether his heart rhythm is okay?
Yeah, we can get him sat down in the back of the ambulance and we'll have a look.
Sid's brought along an ECG machine. This will allow us to monitor Bieber's heart rate and will enable Sid to check for any damage from the stunts Bieber's just performed.
OK, so what have we got?
So basically, this takes a picture of the heart from all the angles, and it looks absolutely fine. There's nothing, it looks perfectly normal.
Really?
Absolutely normal. His heart rate's absolutely fine at 76 beats per minute. So absolutely no issues whatsoever. It doesn't even tell me about any heart blocks or any kind of infarct to the heart muscles or anything.
Bieber's results show no heart abnormalities at all, despite regularly subjecting himself to more than enough electricity to cause a heart attack. Bieber's apparent immunity to electrocution has perplexed a professional electrician and a paramedic. Perhaps Bieber himself can shed some light on what's going on, and more importantly, how he discovered this ability.
This is such an incredibly unique skill. Like, how did you find out the first time that you could do this?
I was learning the welding trade, and my colleague got an electric shock from the welding machine. I came up to see what had happened, and he said, "Watch out, there's live electricity." But I touched the welding machine, and I didn't feel anything at all. It had no effect.
When you do this, what does it feel like?
I feel absolutely nothing when the electricity goes through my body. But at the same time, I command the way it flows. I can make it flow and stop. I can't really describe it. Sometimes I think that I perhaps have an extra sense, and that's how I feel the electricity flow through my body.
Bieber tells me that in Serbia, he uses his ability to perform electrotherapy by channeling electricity to heal many different conditions. And he's offered to give me a demonstration. As a scientist, I'm not sure if this is possible, but there's only one way to find out.
This is earthing or grounding.
Bieber says I need to hold on to this metal rod so the electricity from his body will discharge to the ground and heal me, not kill me.
Oh!
Okay.
The electrical effects are immediate. This is unbelievable. I've never experienced anything like this before.
Oh my God, he's like a battery.
By touching your forehead, I try to determine if there are any internal problems with your body.
This is the strangest experience.
He works on my forehead, sinuses, glands, and neck. I don't know how he's doing this, or exactly where the electrical energy is coming from. But what I do know is that there's a definite effect on me.
That is the most intense experience. You get everything, all the electricity. You literally see like flashing lights. There's white and black there's waves that are going through your vision. And then when he touched it right on my forehead, it's like there's electricity on the inside of your brain. That is, oh, it's so strange. Wow. Do you know what? When we were sat here, I'm kind of thinking to myself, I'm not sure how real this is, but that was incredible. How do you do this? What makes you different compared to anyone else?
I think it may be because I don't sweat at all. My skin is extremely dry. The fact that I don't have sweat glands is definitely linked to my ability to conduct electricity through my body.
As the salt in sweat conducts electricity, any normal human skin would offer almost no resistance, meaning all of the electricity's power would flow through the skin and into the body. But earlier,
Electrician Nigel noticed that somehow Bieber was acting as a resistor.
I can do a test on his skin, and I can see voltage there now. It's about 38 volts.
Okay, so he's absorbing.
I don't understand exactly what's going on there, but he is acting as a resistor of some kind.
Right. A lack of sweat in Bieber's skin would explain this extraordinary electrical resistance. So, I want to test his skin to see how much sweat it contains. So, one of the areas that consistently sweats is the palm of the hand just here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix this up, put some on your palm, okay? I want you to rub your hands together, and the heat that's created should create some sweat. Any moisture at all will react with the chemicals in the powder, turning it dark brown. I'll use my hands as a comparison to show what should happen. Right, ready?
Okay.
Seems to have worked. So that's the colour. You can obviously see where there's moisture on my hands, and there is zero response from you. Wow, that is incredible. The absolute lack of salt or water on his skin explains how it is acting as a resistor, preventing the electrical current from penetrating inside his body. Bieber's super dry skin answers the mystery of how he can survive more voltage than average. But as the amps increase, there's more chance of the electricity piercing the skin to the highly conductive cardiovascular system inside. He now wants to show me his most dangerous demonstration yet, that he says will prove he can withstand the huge amount of amps in a cooker. With the electrician's help, I've been able to figure out how much voltage and power goes through Bieber's body, but he's indicated to me that he can actually turn this into heat in order to cook food in just a matter of seconds. I've invited an expert down with some of the latest thermal camera technology because I want to find out exactly how he does that. Coming to meet me is thermal imaging expert Darren Hooper, and he's armed with some extremely impressive kit.
Right, basically, you've got an optical sensor and a thermal imaging sensor within the camera. This detects differences in heat. It's not an X-ray machine. It doesn't look into a surface. Yeah. It's surface temperature only. So we can try and have a look and see if I've been doing some heavy braking in my car. And as you can see the tire temperature. You've also got the brake disc temperature there. Right. And you'll see that the whiter the colour, the hotter the temperature. Right. The cooler the colour, i.e. blue in this case, is the cooler the temperature of the surface. It's a visual indication of temperature difference.
Oh, so we're going to get some interesting results with this bit of kit.
I think we will. Okay. Absolutely.
This seems like the ideal tool for measuring just how much heat the electricity passing through Bieber is able to produce. But can he really be as powerful as a cooker? As we head back inside, it looks like Bieber is all set up and ready to go. Bieber, this is Darren.
Hello, how are you doing?
Bieber, how does this work? Have you got to do anything before we start?
I will do a new experiment where I will put a raw egg into the bowl of water, and using these two metal bars, I will try to boil the water and cook the egg.
Bieber has the mains electricity running directly into two nails protruding from a board. When he touches the metal bars to the nails, they and he will become electrified. But firstly, I want to get some control temperature readings.
So you're looking at 15.1 degrees for the water, and the egg, it's very similar, 14.7, 15 degrees.
Sort of ambient room temperature is about 15 degrees.
That's it, you've got it.
Bieber says that he'll be using so much power he can get the water boiling in under a minute, faster than a kettle. Right, okay, well, before we start, I want to be able to time this. Sid, do you want to come and help and time it?
With everyone in place, it's time to turn up the heat.
Great. Ready when you are.
As Bieber places the egg in the water, we can see that it's sitting at a cool 15 degrees.
Right, ready?
Yeah.
1 minute, I don't believe this. What do you think?
No.
Time for Bieber to prove he truly is immune to electrocution.
Oh, I'm starting to believe it might be a minute now.
Yeah. 52 degrees, 60 degrees.
Almost immediately, the thermal imaging camera reveals that the water really is heating up.
Oh, it's going up.
Once again, Bieber seems completely unaffected by the lethal electricity coursing through his body.
Look at it steaming.
40 seconds, 40 degrees.
Oh, he's not going to make it in a minute, but look at it steaming.
42, 43.
Oh, this is amazing.
47.
You have a minute now.
Right, that's 1 minute, and we're at about 55 degrees.
And he keeps going until the egg is completely cooked.
Oh, it is hot.
Let's have a look. Around about 65 degrees C, that egg.
Oh. And you think it's done? Well, I know. That is crazy.
Somehow, he's survived enough power to cook an egg.
A boiled egg. It's good.
But Bieber says he's not finished there. He says he can hold on to these electrically charged forks, and the current will electrocute this sausage in just seconds. And this will show us what should happen to normal human flesh with this much electricity flowing through it.
Our temperature of those sausages now are around about 12.2 degrees C.
Oh, yeah. Now this I have to see.
Five.
As we watch the temperature dramatically rising on the thermal camera, there's no doubt the sausage is cooking, and fast.
40.
15.
Oh, you can hear it.
Yeah, 50 degrees.
20.
70 degrees. 85 degrees.
Oh, look at it. Oh my God, leave it alone.
The temperature has soared up to a staggering 85 degrees.
Well, I'm not so sure I want to shake your hand. I will, but... Oh, thank you so much. That was absolutely incredible. Good fun.
What we've just witnessed no doubt cements Bieber's status as a truly extraordinary human. Using his dry skin to withstand life-threatening amounts of electricity, Bieber Struya has managed to hard-boil an egg and cook a sausage by channeling mains electricity through his body.
I didn't think it was possible for a human being to do that, but given the fact that I've done scientific testing in the company of experts, I've seen it with my own eyes, and it's truly amazing what he can do. But I'm still convinced that, given what he does, he should not be alive.
On this leg of my journey, I've met two extraordinary humans. There's no doubt that what Bieber does is life-threatening. Yet somehow he's taken an abnormal skin condition and used it to push his body to the most dangerous of limits. And through years of intense skull training, Li Qing has truly mastered his art.
Oh my God. Oh, that is actually happening.
And is, without doubt, extraordinary. Join me next time as I continue my search for more extraordinary humans.
This time, my search for extraordinary humans has brought me to an extraordinary city. So I've just arrived in the city of Las Vegas, which is the gambling and entertainment capital of the world. And I'm incredibly excited because in true Las Vegas style, I'm going to be meeting some very crazy people. The first man I tracked down says he has the most powerful lungs in the world and claims to be able to generate enough air pressure to lift a 2-ton car clean off the ground. Then I headed to the desert in search of a man who appears to have turned a normal deck of playing cards into a weapon as accurate as a handgun.
I did not think that was possible.
Are you serious?
I want to investigate what lies behind these abilities to find out if they truly are extraordinary humans. Since the 1940s, the surreal, fast-paced hyper-reality of Las Vegas has attracted hedonists from across the world. The obscure and the obscene are welcomed here, and there is always something to entertain. Everywhere you turn, there are people doing things that you've never seen before. Las Vegas Boulevard, or known around here as The Strip, is famous for crazy performers, both in the shows and on the street. And I'm looking for someone in particular. A man named Brian Jackson claims to have the most powerful lungs in the world, and I want to see exactly what he can do with them. Brian calls himself the Lung Man and has performed such deadly stunts that he's even broken his ribs in the pursuit of records.
I can do everything from blowing up hot water bottles till they explode, to blowing up balloons through 100-meter fire hoses, to lifting cars with just my lung strength.
Brian discovered his skill whilst working as a kids entertainer, making balloon animals with industrial strength balloons. One day he left his balloon pump at home, but didn't want to let the kids down.
So I started blowing them up by mouth, and I said I'm not ever going to use a pump again.
Brian's demonstrating his human air pump skills on the Strip, so I'm off to track him down to witness his lung power for myself. Brian?
Yes.
Hey, I'm Tom.
Hey, Tom, how are you?
Great to meet you. I've seen plenty of people blowing balloons up before. Is it really that hard? Is it something I could have a go at?
Well, I can let you try.
Yeah? Okay.
I'll let you pick one.
Okay.
Oh, not that one. It's really hard. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Okay, is there any prep before you start, or you're just so powerful you just go for it?
Here's the trick. Just put air in there.
Within just seconds, I suddenly realized that this is a lot harder than it looks. And I can feel the pressure building in my head.
After a couple seconds, you'll want to...
Oh, it makes your head go funny.
It'll ruin your day if you let it, yeah.
So would people normally use a pump for these?
Most people use a pump to air them up, you're right. It's harder than it looks.
The pressure required to inflate a balloon is inversely proportional to its diameter. The narrower the balloon, the tougher it is. These tiny tubular balloons are extremely hard to blow up and are designed to only be inflated using a mechanical pump. So you've got a few different specialities.
Yeah, pick me out 3 of these.
Right, let's go 3 different colors.
Okay.
What are you going to do with these?
I'm going to try to blow all these up at the same time.
In one go? I couldn't manage 1 balloon, but Brian reckons he can do 3 at a time.
Just like that.
That must have taken a huge amount of air pressure.
Just like that.
That is very impressive.
Thank you.
Brian made that look so easy and was barely out of breath afterwards. But he's not going to stop there. Brian says his lungs can inflate 9 of these balloons at once.
Grab me 9.
The amount of air pressure needed to do that is equivalent to blowing up a bicycle tire.
7.
This should not be possible.
8. 9.
Okay.
Seriously?
I'll give it a try.
I seriously doubt that he can fully inflate all 9 balloons. But even if he gets any air in any of them, I'll be impressed. He takes his time to individually line up each balloon in his mouth. He needs to make sure that he gets a clean grip around every one. I cannot believe he's actually doing this.
1, 2, 3, 4. Wow, that is amazing!
I'm already impressed by Brian's super strong lungs. He's produced air pressures that should not be humanly possible. But Brian made his name with another, even more dangerous display of lung strength. I've seen photos of Brian inflating and exploding what looks like a genuine hot water bottle. But hot water bottles are specifically designed not to explode. They contain extremely hot liquids, so it's vital that the seals are highly stable and the rubber is thick enough to prevent burns. They've been tested to take up to 500 psi of pressure. Could Brian's lungs really be capable of producing enough force to burst tough reinforced rubber? Brian takes out a brand new sealed hot water bottle, so I know this is no trick. And he prepares his safety equipment.
So these are safety goggles because it's going to explode, right?
I'm going to blow it up till it explodes.
And lastly, Brian gets his back brace on, a special belt to give his body support.
This is going to give me a little bit more support.
What, because there's so much, you're creating so much pressure?
Yes.
Right, okay. Super tough. These things are designed not to burst.
Right, it's very thick rubber, and it should expand but not explode.
Wow, okay. This is going to be like the most epic balloon I've ever seen. Right, what do you need to do then? We give you a bit of space?
I'll need about 3 or 4 feet so it doesn't hit anybody else.
Okay, cool. Well, you take that. I'm going to move out of the way slightly.
Everyone is genuinely on edge as Brian prepares. I've seen some crazy stuff in my time, but what Brian is about to attempt seems impossible.
Come on.
Straight away, I notice his technique. His whole body rocks back and forward. He's really putting everything into this. He's only a few breaths in, but now I'm starting to worry. His breathing sounds really heavy. I'm worried he may be pushing his body too far and could pass out, or cause his lungs some serious damage. But he's definitely caught the attention of the Vegas crowds.
Come on. Super lungs.
The force of the explosion was huge. I can only imagine the pressure that took to burst.
Wow. I thought you were going to pass out at one point. That is a lot of breath.
That's a lot of bad breath in there.
How are you feeling?
I feel good. I feel good, a little winded, but that's a good workout.
Like, do you feel lightheaded?
No, I train. I'm more winded than lightheaded. But you have to understand, it's not just blowing this up. I have to hold that to my mouth so tight that no air leaks.
Yeah.
So my neck, my back, my shoulders, my arms, even my hands, all the way down to my legs, I'm pushing into something that's not meant to push into.
So that's a full body workout?
Full body workout.
Oh my Lord. I could barely do one skinny balloon, and this guy just smashed a water bottle.
That was amazing. I honestly did not think it was humanly possible. But Brian has proved to me that he does indeed have super lungs. But it's time to dig deeper to find out more about him and what his secret is. Brian Jackson has been training his iron lungs for over 23 years. After first taking inspiration from a previous world record holder.
I was actually at home watching TV, and we saw a guy that held the world record for blowing up a hot water bottle, and so I started trying to break that world record. It took me 7 years, 49 record attempts to break my first world record.
Brian now holds the world record for the fastest hot water bottle burst and the most hot water bottles blown up in 1 minute.
The record at the time when I saw him break the world record was 52.68 seconds. 7 years later, I did it in 51.98 seconds. And now I hold the record. I get done 5 hot water bottles in under a minute.
But his achievements have come with a cost. Taking on these stunts does have genuine danger involved. During his first world record, things went seriously wrong. Brian was struggling to keep the expanding hot water bottle in position, so he used the table to steady himself. But when the bottle exploded, it then pushed back towards his body with such force, it knocked him unconscious. Brian suffered a dislocated jaw and broken ribs. This demonstrates just how dangerous his stunts can be. But Brian has continued to perfect his natural-born ability, and in his lifetime, he's blown up a staggering 6,000 hot water bottles. I'm intrigued by Brian's unique lung power, but I want to try and find a scientific explanation. I found a medical imaging center here in Las Vegas. And Brian has agreed to have some scans so we can find out if there are any anatomical differences that allow him to perform such extraordinary stunts.
Right, Brian, I'm really quite fascinated in the biology that allows you to be so extraordinary with this lung power. Have you ever had any tests before?
No, and I'm very interested to see what they find out.
Okay, because we should be able to test, hopefully, around the throat, the lung, the thoracic area, and maybe we'll get some answers into why you're the world's most powerful lung man.
Sounds good.
Cool.
First up, lung specialist Dr. Chemplerville needs to see Brian's ability to believe it.
Go on, Brian.
Dr. Chemplerville is eager to find out more.
What do you feel when you're actually doing it?
A lot of pressure, almost like getting dry heaves when you're sick. Very much like that. Your body's pushing into something that's not meant to blow up. So I feel it, muscles all over my body trying to push out.
Where do you feel it? Do you feel it in the lungs or in the chest, or because you've said in your neck and your throat before?
Yeah, the neck from pushing back, my arms to hold it, my chest area pushing out, and my legs holding me. So I feel it everywhere.
Amazed by Brian's power, Dr. Chemplerville refers him for a pulmonary function test. If Brian has an abnormally large lung capacity, it could explain how he's able to produce such huge forces when he exhales.
And blow out fast. Keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep blowing, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Big deep breath in.
But surprisingly, Brian's pulmonary function gives an average score of 89. So next, Dr. Chemplerville decides to call in the CT scanner.
Hold your breath.
The scan will create an image of the inside of Brian's chest, giving us a really clear picture of the bones, muscles, and other tissues. When exhaling forcefully, the abdominal muscles and the intercostal muscles between the ribs generate pressure
which forces air out of the lungs. I wonder if Brian has somehow developed additional muscles, giving his lungs more power.
Doctor, so we got the results of the CT scan.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Okay, this is the upper part of the lung, those black holes.
Okay, so we're coming down, we're about here at this point?
Yes. And then you can see the heart.
Okay, so these black bits here are the air-filled space, that's the lungs?
Yes, that's the lungs. The lungs look completely normal here.
Good, so the ribs, the muscle, the lungs looking normal so far?
Yes.
Okay.
As we move through the scan, anatomically, Brian does not appear to have any difference that would allow him to generate such power from his lungs.
Right in your mouth for me.
And we already know that his actual lung capacity is within a normal range. So the doctor thinks that the only answer must lie deep within the microstructure of Brian's lung tissue itself.
There is elasticity of the lung and elastin fibers in the lung that gives it elasticity that it can, stretch and relax.
Almost every tissue in the human body contains some elastin fibers, but the lungs contain the most. This is what allows them to expand and contract.
I suspect that he has more than normal amount of elasticity in his lung.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it would rupture.
The doctor believes the training that Brian has done over the last 23 years must have built up the elasticity of his lungs and allowed him to perform his extraordinary stunts.
Now you're making me...
He's proven his ability to produce incredibly high air pressure with just the power of his own lungs. But now, I want to find out a way to test his limits. Brian's told me that he can generate enough pressure to lift a car off the ground. So we've tracked down a workshop with some seriously heavy vehicles. I want to test for myself the force he can produce.
Hey, Randy.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, sir. We just happen to have this car and think it might work for what you want it to do.
Okay, perfect, because this guy seems to think that he can make a car levitate using his lungs.
Really? Well, this is good American steel, so I'm dying to see how this is going to work.
What Brian is planning to do sounds crazy. He claims he can exhale into a vehicle lifting bag placed underneath a car and lift it clear off the ground. I don't think any normal human would even attempt such a feat.
So that's a standard lifting bag, but have you modified it in any way?
Well, it comes with a check valve, which would stop the airflow once I blow into it. When I stop, the check valve would stop any air from leaking out.
Okay.
But it's so hard for me, once we get a lot of weight on the bag, to open that check valve up. I've actually taken the check valve out.
Ah.
So I have to hold all the weight, all the pressure right at my throat.
But that means your throat has become the check valve.
Right, exactly.
That is a serious amount of pressure, though.
A lot of pressure, yeah. I'm looking at a very big car here.
What Brian has just told me has given me serious concerns. There is nothing to stop all of that air rushing back into his lungs. This could be deadly.
I'm struggling pumping this jack, so I can imagine Brian's lungs.
First up, I want to know exactly how much this car weighs. Randy gets to work lifting the car with a jack to get the scales into position. By measuring the weight under each wheel, we can work out exactly the force that Brian will need to produce. Once the scales are in position, Randy lowers the car down.
Over 900 pounds on each of the back wheels. So the total weight of the car would be what, 4,000 pounds?
Very easily 4,000 pounds.
The car is weighing in at 1,800 kilos. That's almost double the weight of the biggest car he's ever lifted.
That's a pretty big difference.
Big difference, huge, yeah.
Like, I'm feeling quite nervous. How are you feeling?
A little nervous, but I'm ready to try this. I'm anxious to see what we can do.
Okay, great. Well, let's get it jacked up. Let's get the scales out the way, and then let's get this challenge on the road.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm beginning to think we may have set the bar too high, but we'll see what Brian can do. I've called in a paramedic to be on site, as I have serious concerns about the lack of the check valve in Brian's airbag.
He's modified the lifting bag so there's no return valve. So all the pressure that's going in is directly equal to coming back out again. And I want to know the medical implications of what might happen.
Well, the worst case on that is if he had a sudden surge of back pressure, it could be sufficient to actually cause the lungs to pop like balloons.
Keith has just confirmed my concerns. If for even 1 second Brian was to give in to the pressure on his throat, the full contents of the lifting bag could be heavily forced back into his chest by the 2 metric ton weight of the car. His lungs could literally explode inside him.
The normal human lung tissue is very frail, and it's actually down to 1 cellular layer that allows oxygen molecules and carbon dioxide molecules to cross that cellular barrier. It's very fragile.
Despite being one of the most complicated and vital organs in the body, the lungs are extremely delicate. They're designed to fill with air as we breathe, but the maximum capacity of a human lung is 6 litres. The lift bag that Brian is using has a volume of 1,200 litres. We need to pay really close attention to how Brian is coping throughout this challenge. At the first sign of struggle, it's crucial that he removes the hose without allowing the air to rush back into his throat.
Right, Brian, how you feeling?
I'm ready to rock.
You sure?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
Okay, this is Keith. He's a medical professional, so he's going to be keeping a close eye on you. Best of luck, dude. Seriously, best of luck. Start when you're ready.
Brian is getting into the zone. Within just moments, I can hear the airbag inflating and pushing up against the underneath of the car. But it's going to take a lot more air pressure to lift 2 metric tons. I'm right by the wheel, so I can see when it clears the ground.
Doing good, man. You're lifting her up.
Compared to the hot water bottle, Brian is playing the long game with this one. His body movements are smaller. This is going to take a lot more than 60 breaths. His breathing is starting to sound really heavy.
Keep going, she's nearly there.
But the car is so close now.
We're successful.
Unbelievably, he's done it.
Woo! Yeah! Woo! Woo! Yes! How you feeling?
Oh my gosh, I feel good. Woo! Oh man.
You all right?
Yeah.
Lightheaded?
I'm very lightheaded, tingling. Yeah, I feel good.
That has to be one of the most intense stunts I've ever witnessed. Brian somehow managed to expel enough air to lift an 1,800 kilo car off the ground and resist the force of it pushing back down on the airbag.
We're successful.
If I hadn't just witnessed that, I still don't think I would believe it. There's no denying that Brian Jackson is absolutely extraordinary.
Man, that's exciting.
Next up, I'm going to search out another guy who has an unlikely talent.
In the context of a casino, I think most people would understand a killer hand is a winning set of cards. But to Rick Smith Jr., the term killer hand has a whole different meaning.
The guy I'm about to meet
claims to have a unique ability to take a normal deck of cards and turn them into a weapon.
My name is Rick Smith Jr., and I am a Guinness World Record card thrower. I started performing magic when I was 7 years old. My father showed me a card trick, my uncle showed me a little coin trick, and I fell in love with it. So I started practicing, reading books, watching videos, and I just progressed.
Rick claims he can throw a simple playing card a staggering 70 meters at speeds of over 90 miles an hour. I don't see how that can be possible, but if it's genuine, it will be truly extraordinary. I'm meeting Rick at a shooting range in the Nevada desert where he is practicing his accuracy.
Hey, Rick. Hey, man, what's up?
Great to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too. Thanks for coming out to the shooting range.
So a card is not a normal kind of throwing device. How did this all start for you?
Well, I was a college baseball pitcher, and I threw a baseball 90 miles an hour, and I was also a magician. So I put the two together, and that's where I learned how to throw a playing card so fast and hard.
Wow. Take me through the technique. How do you turn a baseball throw into a card throw?
Well, I actually take the playing card and I throw it like a curveball. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing the card down and flinging my wrist at the very last second.
So it totally comes from your baseball background?
It is all baseball background.
In the world of competitive baseball, a 90-mile-an-hour pitch is seen as pro level. Athletes train hard to perfect their technique to achieve this kind of speed. Power from the whole body, the angle of release, and most importantly, the spin, are key ingredients to a fast pitch. But a baseball weighs 145 grams and is a perfect sphere. What I really want to learn is how Rick can achieve that same power and speed with a paper-thin, flat object. I'm super stoked to get started. Tell me what you're going to do.
I'm going to try to hit the bullseye on that yellow target.
You think you can hit that from here?
Absolutely.
Seriously?
Seriously.
That's quite a distance.
It's 15 yards.
Oh, all right, I'd like to see this. Go for it. Not only will this be a test of his accuracy, this is a huge distance he's taking on. It would be a tough shot with a handgun, let alone a flimsy card.
Ready?
Uh-huh. It's good, but not good enough. Oh! That is very cool. Rick's next two cards have sliced straight into the target, but he's determined to hit the bullseye. Oh! I did not think that was possible. Well, that has just blown me away. Oh! A playing card weighs just 1.8 grams and is hardly designed to be aerodynamic. He makes it look so easy. I want to try it for myself. So where would I start? A typical baseball pitch, but then what am I looking to do? There's a flick.
You're going to flick it as fast as you possibly can with your fingers.
Okay.
So you're going to hold it between your two fingers.
Yeah.
You're going to snap as hard as you can to see how many revolutions you can get in 1 second.
So it's all about the spin?
You want to keep that card spinning.
Okay.
As long as the card's spinning, it's going to keep traveling.
Okay, and a throw and a flick at the same time?
Absolutely.
Right.
You could do this.
Oh.
It's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Okay, let me have another go.
7
another
feet.
one.
That's okay. You could beat that.
Right. And there's a flick in the wrist.
It is a flick of the wrist.
Okay.
You got this. No, you don't got this. It's okay.
I have no idea how Rick can achieve so much speed and accuracy with a card. And his unique talent has earned him global status. You're pretty world famous for this as well.
Well, I hold a few Guinness World Records. The farthest is 72 yards, the most accurate, and I'm working right now on throwing the Guinness World Record for the highest throw of a playing card.
Wow. Rick has set records with his card throwing skills, but I want to see if he can use them to compete against a real weapon. I feel a competition coming on, and given the fact that we're at a shooting range,
I want to go a gun against you,
A
5
gun.
shots.
And what are we aiming for?
How about the heads of these targets?
Let's do it.
To make this harder for Rick, we're going to increase the distance. He's proved himself at 15 meters already. Now, we're shooting from the 20-meter line. I've got a 45mm handgun, an ideal weapon for close-range accuracy. I've used a lot of different guns in my time, and at this distance, I feel pretty confident about my chances of beating him.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Shooters ready? 3, 2, 1.
My first shot is dead on. But my second is a few inches off. Meanwhile, Rick is firing his cards hard into the target.
Right, let's have a closer look.
Let's check it out.
I got 2 right in the middle of the head, a 7 and an 8, and I actually missed with one as well.
I got a 7, I got the neck, and look, 3 in the exact same spot.
They're on top of each other. 1, 2, 3. Wow.
Hey.
That is very cool.
That is awesome.
You actually won.
It took Rick 2 attempts to find his target, but then he blew me away by getting 3 cards in the exact same spot. I thought I had good aim, but Rick has just totally put me in my place. And he made it look so easy. Rick has proven he does indeed have a genuine talent when it comes to card throwing. He's demonstrated his accuracy, but now I'm keen to see him take on some longer distances. So, Rick has invited me to his old stomping ground, Fremont Street, in downtown Vegas. For Rick, it's where he still comes to push his own limits. This time, he's going to attempt to break his own world record for the highest card throw.
This is the absolute best place to try to throw a playing card and show the height. Here, why don't you try?
Right. Same technique?
Same
all
technique.
in the wrist?
High as you can get it.
Right.
You're gonna take it, you're gonna flip it with your wrist to throw it as high as you possibly can. You can do this. I guarantee it.
Right.
Getting any height with a playing card seems impossible. But I'm stepping up to the challenge.
No.
It's not that bad.
You make it look so easy.
I managed just a couple of meters. Now it's Rick's turn.
To throw a playing card really far distance, I actually have to use my whole body. I'm using my legs, my hips, my arm. Same way I would throw a baseball. If I was a baseball pitcher, I would actually use my whole body to get the momentum to throw the card so far.
How high exactly do you think you're going to get?
Height is the toughest challenge for Rick. Even though he can throw over 60 meters horizontally, his current highest throw is only 17 meters. But that's still over the blue star.
Let's see.
Do that. Go on, yeah.
It's impressive, but not yet record-breaking.
Try one more, one more.
Above the blue star is about 20 meters. How far can he push it?
What do you think the maximum is?
I bet you I can get to that green star. If I'd hit the green star right now, that'd actually be a new Guinness World Record.
There's no way you're going to hit that.
You want me to try?
I'd love you to try, but I don't think you can do it.
This is going to be very difficult.
This is crazy. The green star is almost 30 meters high. Rick is claiming that he can almost double his record right in front of my eyes. Surely he's aiming too high.
All right, you ready? Here we go. That was close, that was close. One more thing. Ready?
That was pretty high.
Try one more, one more. Ready? That was it. That was it.
That is incredible.
Somehow, Rick was able to generate enough power from his whole body to launch the card high into the air, literally defying gravity. If it wasn't for the way they gently flutter back to the ground, I'd be sure he was using fake cards. But Rick says his card throws are no trick, and the speed he generates with each throw turns a simple playing card into a dangerous weapon. He tells me he can slice through vegetables and even smash glass with his cards. I want to see this for real.
All right. You're not going to hit me, right? Not on purpose.
Okay.
Are you nervous?
I'm a little bit nervous now, but...
Watch it. It's pretty crazy, right?
That's pretty cool.
I can actually hear the cards slicing into the thick rind of the watermelon.
Oh, that could have been your hand. Oh, that one hit the card.
Oh,
pretty crazy.
That is very, very cool, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
A regular kitchen knife would struggle cutting through a watermelon, but Rick has just fired a standard playing card deep into the rind.
Don't move, don't move.
It seems it's not just me that's intrigued by Rick's extraordinary ability. He catches the attention of a bystander who sets him a challenge.
Put one on that building, man. What? Can you put it on that building?
Seriously?
Put it on that building, man. What the?
Oh, there we go.
I've seen Rick throw with amazing accuracy, making a bullseye from over 18 meters.
I did not think that was possible.
I've witnessed him launching a card record-breaking heights into the air.
That was it.
And now he's just shown me the damage he can inflict. I have to get to the bottom of how he's able to achieve these remarkable feats.
Seeing Rick perform his tricks, I've been genuinely impressed, and he makes it look so easy. I've had a go, and it's actually very difficult. So I've enlisted the help of a biomechanics expert with some of the latest high-speed camera technology to really try and reveal what makes him so good.
I've called in Dr. David DeLion.
Hey, Dave.
An expert in motion capture technology and human performance. Dave specializes in baseball pitching techniques and has developed a high-speed camera rig to break down the specific motion step by step. I've asked Dave to set up his cameras at the shooting range. With his expertise, I must be able to uncover what makes Rick so extraordinary.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take the high-speed cameras. Our cameras capture at 200 pictures per second, 200 frames per second.
Yeah.
And what we're going to be measuring is how long it takes the card to travel between a set distance. So we've measured this out to be 1 meter.
Yeah.
And we're going to measure how much time it takes for the card to travel that 1 meter. That'll give us our velocity. The other thing we're going to look at is the spin. We're going to see how many times the card rotates in a short period of time.
Great.
What do you say? Should we try it?
I want to get started, yeah.
Let's do it.
With Dave's controlled setup, I'll finally start getting some answers about how fast the cards are traveling through the air. But he's going one step further. A strip of reflective tape is attached to the cards so that we can measure the spin. Spotlights have been specifically positioned to shine on the card, so the tape will allow us to count exactly how many full rotations the card makes in the 1 meter test area. I'm up first. I have to concentrate just on this 1 meter test zone. I'm aiming for my maximum speed.
Right, ready?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We both get 3 attempts, and Dave will pick our best.
1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Good.
Hey, that was pretty good.
That's better. Right.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to advance this frame by frame, and each frame is 5/1000th of a second. So you can see your arms moving forward there, and you're about to let go of the card. There's the wrist flick.
Oh, it wobbles straight away.
So that you were 11.1 meters per second, which is about 25 miles per hour.
Okay. 25 miles an hour to beat. Go for it.
All right, let's do it.
Well, I'm impressed with my 25 miles an hour. I didn't think it would be that fast. Now it's Rick's turn to step up to the mark. Rick's record speed was 90 miles an hour.
Right, you ready?
But we're outside, up in the hills, and the wind has really picked up today.
All right, 1, 2, 3, go. 1, 2, 3, go.
Again, Dave gives Rick 3 goes to get his best shot.
1, 2, 3, go.
I can already see how his style differs to mine. He pitches as if he were throwing a baseball. Time for the results.
Well, you threw 16 frames between the cones.
Yeah.
Rick did 6 frames.
6
frames, which is about 33 meters per second, and that turns out to be about 75 miles per hour.
So wow. I did 25 miles an hour and he did 75 miles an hour.
That's right.
That's incredible.
Rick threw his card 3 times as fast as mine, which would obviously explain how he can throw such long and high distances. But what about the effect of spin? I'm eager to know the difference in the number of rotations we both managed.
We've done the math, and your final revolutions per second was 25. The card traveled 25 times around per second for you.
So a complete spin, 25 times.
That's right.
In 1 second.
That's right.
That sounds a lot.
That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, go.
Thanks to Rick's tuition, I managed 25 full rotations in a second.
16 frames.
But if he can triple my speed, I'm sure his rotations are also way above mine.
Rick, on the other hand, he did 59 revolutions per second.
Ah, okay. So you're 3 times as quick and more than twice as many revolutions.
That's right.
And in your opinion, is that why it goes so much further?
Absolutely. I think the combination of higher initial velocity and more revolutions per second makes a huge difference in how far a card will travel.
Dave says Rick's cards act like small propellers, finding their way through the air with the least amount of turbulence.
As the card spins, it creates angular momentum, and it goes about an axis of rotation that's perpendicular to the card, which allows it to get through the air with the least amount of turbulence. As the spin slows down, the axis of rotation starts to wobble, which lets the card wobble, and once that happens, it falls right out of the sky.
The air can just, and that's when we see it just flutter down.
That's right.
It's great to understand the physics behind Rick's skill, but to me, the main question was how can he throw such a light object such a long distance? Rick explained to me that the secret was in the spin, but actually seeing that for real, frame by frame, and getting those figures has proven that to me.
So if you want to get good at being able to flick a card 70 yards, it's all about speed and revolutions.
Absolutely. If you could increase your revolutions per second, the card should fly even farther.
Wow, good. I'm stoked that we actually got some answers.
But I've not exhausted this guy's abilities just yet. I've got a challenge for him that I think will really push him to the max. It requires a combination of distance and accuracy, and is something no one has ever attempted before. This basketball court is 29 meters in length. I want Rick to try and get a card into the basket. Can he really make this target? Just 18 inches in diameter.
How many tries do you think it will be?
Between 2 and 5.
Really?
Absolutely, it's controlled. This is perfect.
If you pull this off, I'm gonna be amazed.
Let's do it.
It looks impossible, but Rick seems quietly confident.
You ready?
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, close.
1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, you hit the board.
That was close.
That was very close. If you pull this off, this is going to be trick of the century.
Using a unique natural ability, Rick has just taken speed, power, and accuracy to the very limit of what's possible, and amazed both me and the professor.
That was so good. I did not think you were going to pull that off. I didn't even think you could get it that far, let alone get it in a hoop that's like a foot and a bit across. The power, the speed, the accuracy combined, that was just absolutely amazing. That has completely topped it off for me.
I've witnessed two extraordinary humans, each with incredible abilities.
We're successful.
Who have found jaw-dropping ways of demonstrating their powers. Join me next time when my search for extraordinary humans continues.